Bingo.
Welcome back to another exciting episode of Spitball Media Podcast. We're going to be spitting out the top entertainment stories, kicking off Halloween month. It is October, and everybody knows what that means. Satan laughing spreads his wings. My name is John Draper. Joining me on this weekly voyage into Halloween fun is none other than the Prince of Philadelphia, and of Persia, for that matter. His name is Shaheen. Shah, happy Halloween month.
Thank you, sir. You as well. That is factual. I am a Philadelphian, and I'm also a Persian and bald.
And a prince.
Debatable, but sure.
Is it true the Fresh Prince was originally supposed to be about you, but they thought the terrorism aspect wouldn't play well?
Yeah,
with
see, I was also going bald. They didn't really want to, they had more faith in Will Smith. But, I'm still here.
Would have worked out better for you if we think about it now. It would have worked out instead of Will Smith probably wasn't the safe bet there. And, of course, you know him. You love him. He loves Halloween so much. He even likes candy corn. I'm starting that rumor. Mr. B. Show Brian.
I actually tried candy corn my wife bought the other day, and I think I'm coming around to it.
Look, I had a feeling you liked candy corn, B.
It's not terrible. It's not terrible.
No, but
what's worse, candy corn or black jelly beans?
Ooh, I love black jelly beans.
Ugh.
Black jelly beans, black licorice. I used to drink Jaeger too. So
it's like eating an old tire. It's like somebody poured sugar on an old tire and said, "Have this, B. Show."
You really are Caucasian.
Yeah, I'm white as fuck, dude.
Yeah, you're.
B. Show, what are you wearing there? You look like you're dressed like George St. Pierre in the late '90s. What's going on?
Oh no, it's an Adidas polo.
Like one of Rocky's side guys in the Russian movie, like that.
Yeah, I dress kind of like a white Killer Mike sometimes. Usually, it's like a black Adidas sweatshirt.
Nice. Do you have the pants to match? Because that is boss as fuck.
I do. Oh yeah. I had to stop because my brother always used to ask me why, you're not in shape. Why do you wear tracksuits? But I love tracksuits.
That's all I wear now. All I wear is tracksuits. Adidas tracksuits is literally what I wear all day.
I want to get a Todd suit, like a vintage Todd suit, like old school.
I got like
80s.
5 or 6 of them.
You have Todd suits?
No, the Adidas sweatsuits. The pink one right there, that's a sweatsuit.
That's badass. Yeah, I don't have that because I want people to take me seriously. But enough about fashion. I'm just kidding. I would totally rock a Todd suit. If you're joining us for the first time, we don't wear matching Adidas suits, but we do talk about the top stories in the entertainment industry. And we also do an extra bonus show every month. We got a great Patreon crew, loyal as fuck. They've been around since day 0, haven't they, Shaheen?
Shit, honestly, negative in the negative days, because they were following us when I was doing a different show and when you were doing a different show. So literally way before we even started this show, we've had supporters, the same supporters. So shout out to all of you. And one of those supporters, Chris Matthews, shout out to him and happy birthday. Donnie Dosa also. Shout out to him.
Oh, happy birthday to some of those wonderful Patreon members. And of course, B Show, you know how loyal that Patreon crew is, and it's the best affordable premium package in the business.
Absolutely. At a time when even I think we're even a better value than Tubi at this point because we don't have commercials. So
that's right.
Think about Tubi's free, and we're better than that. That's pretty good, pretty fucking good. Tons of the back catalog speaks for itself. We've been talking about that every week. Bonus episodes, and we're going to do a Halloween blowout at the end of the month this year. Special instead of a Q&A or a hangout, we're going to do a Halloween-centric bonus episode just for Patreon members. So
yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that. And of course, Shah, you know it as well too. We can't get nothing for $5 except hundreds of hours of ghoulish entertainment in our Patreon.
That's also factual once again. I joined Panera's, and this is another good deal. Cheap plug for Panera. I was spending like $4 a day on each cup of iced coffee I get, and I get like 2 iced coffees a day. So that was like $8 a day I'm throwing away on iced coffee, right? And that adds up, That adds up. That's over like fucking $200 almost, a month spending on iced coffee. It's retarded. So
that's a lot of caffeine.
Yeah. Well, you need it. I need it. So I got this deal where it's like $10 a month or $11 a month, and you can get unlimited drinks for Panera. So I'm in there like 5 times a day now. Yeah.
Wow. That's kind of better than the Patreon, but still go to patreon.com/break the app.
Yeah. Join.
No, we don't make you twitchy. We don't make you twitchy.
No, we don't make you. Well, we show up twitchy sometimes.
That's true.
But boy, we got an action-packed night. Shout out to Joe Punches, Felix Ortiz, Chris Matthews, the birthday dude, and happy birthday, Donnie. Thanks you guys for hanging out as usual. Great bunch of dudes chilling in there. And of course, you want to go to patreon.com/break the app. And please, people, hit that subscribe button. This is a very new venture for us. I barely know what YouTube is. I'm 167 years old. And like YouTube to me is foreign. It frightens and confuses me like a unfrozen caveman lawyer. But please hit that subscribe and like button. And thank you for all of the support on the Patreon, on the podcast. And we're going to do what we can to build up a nice little YouTube following as well. And hit that like button, Mr. Punches. But yeah, we got to do a lot this month for Halloween. We're going to devote a lot of the Patreon stuff to Halloween, the bonus shows to Halloween this month. We're going to get the Q&A a little bit of a rest. And also, Patreon members, a program note, you'll be getting your Q&A this weekend for September. Apologies for that delay. I drink a lot. But boy, a big, big weekend kicking off the holiday, this weekend that opened, that just passed. Saw 10 did a very strong opening this weekend that just happened. And we were talking about it last week, and we thought that Saw was going to be one of the bigger properties, especially for the month of Halloween. And it was a critical darling. Last week, the critics were literally whipping it out and pulling on it just to let us know, Shah, how much they loved Saw. Were you surprised? We didn't talk about it too much last week. I think we might have touched it on Patreon. But were you surprised at the outstanding critical reviews that it was getting from critics like across the board?
Honestly, yes. I was kind of shocked because I went to the last one, Spiral, in the movie theater, and I don't recall there being that much hype around that or any other Saw movie that's really come out in the last decade. I mean, I remember Jigsaw, nobody gave a shit. Like, it just came out, it got released, nobody cared. So to see this kind of, push back and get a little bit of support behind it, I'm surprised. I still have yet to see it, but if people are hyping it up, I'm assuming it's pretty decent. And I think, honestly, a lot of the reason why people are more open to liking this and giving it a fair shot is due to the fact that it's kind of like the stage between 1 and 2, correct?
Yes.
So I think people have a soft spot for the beginning of Saw. If this was like after Spiral and it featured Chris, nobody would give a shit, dude. If this had Chris Rock in it, and nobody would care. So I think that's part of the catch is people, a lot of people my age that are probably going to see this movie are people that grew up, as teenagers when Saw first came out and saw it in the movie theater. So I feel like a lot of us, it's kind of nostalgic for us,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point because you've grown up with this franchise.
Yeah.
In your life. Like, it's always been popular. It's always been in theaters.
Right.
Some of you may have got your first titty in there, your first ball tug. B-Show, were you surprised at the unbelievable reviews this thing got pretty much across the board? I mean, there's no denying it.
No, not at all. I mean, obviously, there's always a chance that a legacy property could fail, but for all the reasons Shah mentioned, there's something with most movie franchises. When something gets popular, it starts out really strong. It's kind of its own idea, unless it's intended to be like an anthology. But for the most part, it starts with something and people gravitate to it for a reason. It's the characters, it's the atmosphere, it's the tone, the story, the effects, whatever it is. And then the farther along you go in the series, you get away from that. Look at any major franchise. Freddy turned into Johnny Carson, Myers, and you went a million directions with that. And then even The Exorcist. I know there's some cool entries down the road.
Some Leatherface, you could throw that maybe in there a little bit.
Yeah, the Next Generation and then the remakes. So it always gets away from that. So when people talk about new sequels or remakes, I'm not necessarily against them if it goes back and deals with the original subject matter, because they at least try to go back to what made it special in the first place. And Saw, whether I like Saw or not, Saw was incredibly popular 10, 15 years ago. I mean, it was like the tentpole Halloween film for a couple years running when there really wasn't a whole lot else out there. So, no, I mean, good for them. If people like it, that's pretty cool. It's not necessarily my cup of tea, but I'll probably check it out.
I think like during this time was when Hostel came out also, right? When Saw first came out, it was like the whole
I don't know what came out first. Somebody should check us on that.
I think it was
Hostel. You think Hostel predated Saw 1? I think it could have been the same time period, guys, because that was like...
It was around the same time, because that's where the subgenre of torture porn. Yeah,
torture porn.
I'm actually here. I'm doing a Saw piece right now, actually.
Jesus, that looks good. Holy shit. My God, that looks fantastic. So I have to disclose this. I saw a couple of days ago. I took a little time off. I was downstate a little bit, getting drunk and fucking around. And when I came back, I was like, okay, I'm going to go check this movie out. Now, I saw this movie. I'm going to just break kayfabe here for a minute. I saw it on a noonish Monday afternoon of this week. Not a holiday. Most people are working. It's October 1st, whatever. And there was quite a few people in the movie theater. Like, I was very, very surprised that there was this many people at a noon Monday rando movie show so I took that as a very solid sign. Now, I'm not going to talk too much about the film. I am going to say this. I've seen now maybe 3 or 4 of them in the theaters. I think I saw the first 2 and I saw the Spiral, and I saw this one, which is weird because I skipped like fucking 6 of these movies. It's very good. It's good. There's some good gore, but to be frank, and I'm just going to say this, I felt like it's very rinse repeat. The people were hyping this up as they were going to give you barf bags, like Terrifier style. You'd never this is gore on a shocking level. They went there. We've seen this in Saw before. Like there was nothing really unique that stood out as far as my palate goes. Now, my palate, B-Show, as you can imagine, is probably not a normie palate, right? But I will say this, they had some cool gore, unique, but not for Saw. It was a good Saw movie. It wasn't an excellent top-tier horror film. It was just a good version of the Saw franchise. Does that make sense, B?
Yeah, solid entry in the legacy of Saw, I guess. Yeah.
But I will say this: if you are someone is not like a gore person, this might be your fucking martyrs. You know what I mean, Shah? This might be your Terrifier.
Yeah. I actually rewatched the first and the second, and I tried to watch the third one, but I fell asleep. The first and the second, I actually really liked them. But,
I like them too.
They don't hold up that well, though, to be honest.
Really?
Like the gore and stuff.
That's unfortunate.
See, the thing is, like, I'm sure B-Show can probably relate to this a little bit more since he's my age. During the early 2000s, that whole like blue hue to all the horror movies, or the green hue to every horror movie, all these like quick flashbacks, and I don't like that style. Like it doesn't sit well with me. So just watching it, it looks very like cheap in the sense of the style, I guess, because those flashbacks that they do, like I kind of cringed at it, man. It does not hold up well, but the gore is amazing.
Yeah.
So other than that, that's pretty much my only complaint about the first 2. But I'm excited to see it, man. I don't have my hopes like too high because it's fucking Saw. It's not something I've ever really gravitated towards more than other movies. It's very meh to me, but I'll go see it though.
B-Show, do you have any desire to experience this in a theater?
In the theater, maybe. I did until you said it was not amazing, but it was good for Saw.
Yeah,
I'll probably wait till
it's on
streaming. I'd much rather go see something else. Like still trying to see Talk to Me, but I might be running out of time with that one.
Oh wow, yeah. There's some good stuff playing too. By the way, there was other things. There was another movie I wanted to see. A couple of other movies, but I will say this: I was surprised with how Saw it was. Like me and Shah saw Spiral 2 years ago, and Spiral, I don't know about Shah, but did not feel like a Saw movie to me. And before we proceed, I want to give a shout out to our good friend Marquise Johns, and who else we got in there?
Did you see who else popped in?
Who's there?
Dick Van Klondike.
No way.
Yeah,
my friend Dick Van Klondike. My friend,
yes.
my
#
old
balls
friend
deep.
who disappeared. Dick Van Klondike in the house. Royalty right there. That's royalty. It's like getting a call from royalty. I have to stand up, Mr. Klondike.
Salute.
Salute.
Do you guys feel like we're seeing like a real time comeback of movies at theaters? Because I can't recall the last time, other than Barbie and Oppenheimer, where people like actually got excited and things became events, like going to see these movies. Because I see so many people talk about it on my timeline now, where they're talking about Exorcist and this movie. Yeah. And I just didn't see that in 2017 and 18, or even, I just didn't see that.
During the pandemic, we couldn't have seen it.
Well, yeah, obviously. Yeah.
It exists. Shout out to
even prior to that, I feel like, and I know movie theaters aren't doing great, but I do feel like it's somewhat making a comeback, or maybe it's not making a comeback. The people that are going to it are just more vocal and invested in talking about it.
I think that might be it, guys. I mean, I don't know, B, what do you think? Do you think the absence of cinema for a few years, and now that you have franchise movies, legacy films, reboots, new properties, you have hard R comedies very quietly. I don't know how they did, but you had this movie Bottoms that was supposed to be very raunchy girl comedy. There was this Asian movie that was supposed to be incredibly raunchy, centered around these girls that go to China, very hard R. We're seeing this, right? I mean, do you think this is just a culture shift because people now have such quick access to the internet to talk about this so quickly?
I don't know if it's that or there's just a lot of good stuff coming out right now. And like, think of it, you had Mario, you had Turtles, those were both very successful movies. You had Barbie, you had Oppenheimer. Those are two very successful movies. There's a lot of other movies that have come out and just kind of got forgotten. And I think it's more or less cue the Scorsese. I think it's more or less the fatigue of superhero movies. That was the thing. Those were the tentpole movies. They got all the marketing, all the budget, and that's kind of died out.
Yes.
So now you have much cheaper movies that are getting a lot bigger budget. Like, think of Smile. We talked about this before. Could you imagine during the heyday of Guardians and of Avengers and stuff like that, any studio putting any money into a viral marketing campaign where there's someone sitting with a ghastly smile behind home plate at a fucking
no, but
baseball game?
No, that's an interesting point. But let's not lose the fact that Guardians almost did $1 billion this year. It was a massive movie. The Batman was massive last year. And some of the shift has gone to network, right? So we might not have a Star Wars or a Marvel movie every minute, but we got one on fucking TV if you want to watch it, and they're doing really good numbers. And they're padding that Disney lineup. So it's interesting. I mean, there's definitely a resurgence. I think people are more excited about going to the movies. And also, I think because movies are so expensive, you know what I mean? It's an event now. Like, look at what people did with Barbie. I mean, that hasn't happened. That maybe happened with the first Black Panther for sure. Absolutely. And I saw it with my own eyes because I saw Black Panther 3 times because when it came out, the first movie. People got dressed up like almost in like a Coming to America like as if it was like, Wakanda was a real place. Like you see that sometimes. And I saw people dressed up at Terrifier 2 years ago. I absolutely did. I don't know if you guys did. Did you guys experience anybody dressed up at Terrifier?
No.
Okay. Did you, B?
No, I saw a lot of people in like Fright Rag shirts, so that was kind of rad. But
yeah, I saw people over the top makeup horror, like almost like a Rocky Horror vibe. So yeah, I think, but also just like we talk about this a little bit with wrestling, we talk about this actually probably a lot of it with wrestling offline. The cult of it now, like you can't just be a casual fan of Barbie. You got to put on the pink hat. Like you had middle-aged women buying outfits to go to Barbie with their friends for the 4th or 5th time, right? You had people taking all of their nieces or daughters and their cousins and their best sorority sisters doing theme shows at this shit, right? So, and you had people, doing the double dip with Oppenheimer because that was like the trendy thing for a couple of weeks there. So yeah, I definitely think I don't know if it's a one size fits all, but it's exciting, right? But also what Shah brings out is movies aren't doing well, Shah. I mean, theaters are closing left and right. Prices are outrageous. They're only going to get worse. Oh, did we lose Shah?
I'm honestly surprised that companies like what was that thing that I just joined? The movie
Pass.
Movie Pass.
It's back.
I'm surprised. Yeah, I'm surprised companies like that can even exist in 2023. But I guess
a lot
they're
of empty
so
seats in movie theaters, Shah. A lot of empty seats.
Yeah, they're desperate though. I think. I don't know though, man. I look at my fucking app on the Movie Pass and I see a lot of people booking up movies. Like maybe it's my area, but it seems like a lot of people are going to the movie theater in my area.
Well, that's a good thing. It pushes the medium. It pushes, there's indie movies. There's like John Wick type franchises, Fast and the Furious franchise. There was a Mission Impossible movie this year. Marvel's got a movie coming out, this year. DC's got a movie coming out this year. Martin Scorsese's got a movie coming out this year. David Fincher's got a movie coming out this year. What's his face from Aliens, B-Show? He's got a movie coming out this year. Yeah, Ridley Scott. We've never had this before. This has not happened before.
Let me ask you a question. And we're not going to get political, but just looking at the scope of society and how things have gone.
Yes, I would fuck Marjorie Taylor Greene. No, I wouldn't.
What is it about those crazy Republican bitches, man?
No, Bobbert, 100%.
Bobbert,
I wouldn't even get a handy from Marjorie Taylor Greene. I would be flaccid the whole time. But go ahead.
She looks like Ron Perlman in drag.
Yeah, she has a tight face. That's not a
Yes.
good sign. But go ahead.
But like looking at society, like you had Speaking Out and Me Too coming out of like 2013, not 2013, 2014, but that time things got really.
It was around that
PC.
time.
There's a lot of angry people, and then
2016,
Trump and people were mad about that, and I almost feel like people got exhausted with that stuff, and people just want to like go escape and feel good and have fun. I don't know why. Like, I don't know if that's part of it or if that's just my perception of the world that I see around me. But like, I see a lot more people more into movies or fun to go do than what the latest cause is.
Yeah, I feel like more people I know, and also look, it's Halloween time. We're all Halloween kind of people. You know, our friends are Halloween people. Yeah. Yes, people going, I gotta watch my one horror movie a day, otherwise I'm gonna fuck it. I won't be able to come. You know, like there's an excitement there, and then we're gonna go into and then we're gonna go into holiday type movies, right? And then that'll kick in. So it's like I feel like the medium is bouncing back from strikes, even though there's still a SAG-AFTRA strike, right? And you know, it's still going on. They're still talking. But I feel like the industry fixed itself, just like, you know, Jurassic Park. Like Goldblum says, what is it? The life finds a way. Yeah. Entertainment finds a way. You know, Shah for years has been like, fuck, when are they going to get these Marvel movies out of the movie theater? And then last year you have literally a renaissance of almost independent horror. And like Chris Matthews brought up that brilliant campaign also from Smile. Terrifier 2 being talked about on fucking Good Morning America. You know, just record box office for horror properties left and right that no one had heard of before. You know, people just fawning over themselves to talk about it, going to see it again, going to see it with their friends. And some of these will be back in theaters for this Halloween. So yeah, it's an exciting time for movies, but something that's not so exciting, apparently, this might be a red herring, people. So we wanted to get in front of this weekend. So as you've noticed, we've been talking about, even in the Patreon, the new Exorcism sequel. What is it called? Exorcism 2 Electric Boogaloo? What is it called?
Well, the movie is called Exorcist.
No, it is.
Did we say Two Girls, One Demon? Was that the name of the show?
2 Girls, One Demon. Yeah, we called an episode that.
You keep calling it
what is it called? It's called Exorcist
Believer.
Yeah. No, it has a tagline. That's
then
the
I
name.
saw that.
You keep calling it Exorcism, though.
No, the Exorcism of 2 girls. You know, they did something with the 2 girls who are friends. I don't know. 2 friends, 2 girls in a diner with the devil who does something. I don't know. So now I'm going to rewind the clock here a little bit. The opening weekend of Oppenheimer. Okay. A shout out to Christopher Kane. He just watched that Talk to Me last night. I'm sure he enjoyed it, but he'll let us know. The Believer. Thank you. When I brought this up, just to rewind the clock, I thought about this. The weekend I went and saw a sold-out practical Oppenheimer of Barbenheimer weekend. That was the first time the Exorcist trailer was shown in theaters. And I remember telling you guys, when the trailer ended, half my older audience, which made me look like a teenager, that's how old this audience was. So these people like 100, groaned. There was audible groans from the trailer. People were like, oh, like that. Like, and I was like, holy shit, this don't look good. And then we had a conversation about it, and I waffled with it, right? Because I thought the trailer was a little sketch. Like, I couldn't figure out what was going on. Maybe that's a little too much, right? So Shah has high hopes. I have high hopes. P-Show has a curiosity factor. We consider, I think, I don't know, you'd be lying if people don't have The Exorcist in the holy grail of horror movies. It would. I don't know that modern horror would exist the way it does without The Exorcist. Shah, is that factual?
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. It's definitely in my top 2. I mean, The Shining, Exorcist, and Hereditary are my 3 favorites.
Wow, that's deep. And B-Show, right? Like, I mean, for the time period, for the 70s, there's just no equivalent to this. It's its own island.
No, it was a pop culture phenomenon and was causing people to like picket and I almost said strike, to picket and you know, stand up against it, and it was blasphemous.
Yeah,
they said there's like there's the series on Shudder, Cursed Movies. They go into the whole thing. It was just this big cultural phenomenon. They thought the movie was actually cursed and people would actually like become possessed. It was crazy, especially for the time.
Yeah, and it's also an icon. It's a pop culture icon, like Linda Blair, the pea soup, the spinning of the head, Your Mother Sucks Cock in Hell, all this other shit, like The Devil Voice. You know, some of it doesn't hold up as good as other things, but it's been spoofed like in movies and movies in the 80s and the 90s and in the 2000s. So this is a legacy property, and people were excited about it. And if we're going off strictly of critic reviews, because this just opened tonight, today is the 5th, it is a mitigated disaster. It is polling right now. Where are we at, B-Show? 22%.
Is that officially rotten?
Are you serious? Oh my God. As of right now, the critics review of these are critics. 22%. Shah, your thoughts?
It's highly concerning. The fact that it's critics, it's not even like trolls, so you can't even charge it up to being like, oh, these are just haters. Like, that's not the case. These are people who actually saw it and didn't like it.
Oh my God.
Fuck, man. I mean, I hate shitting on Blumhouse every week, but I just don't trust them when they handle big properties like Halloween, Exorcist. We'll get into Friday later, but just do the what is it? The hidden cam, all those weird movies they did, the Polaroid and shit like that. Like, do those movies and just stick to that. Please don't touch Exorcist. Like, and David Gordon Green, man.
Yeah, we got to talk about Mr. Green.
This guy, I don't trust his direction with any of this shit, man. And honestly, I saw the Exorcist trailer. Like, I didn't hate it. I thought it was I was intrigued by it. I was like, oh, there's 2 girls this time. Like, they're visiting multiple cultures. It's very inclusive when it comes to the religious aspect of it.
Satan is woke now. So we have
it's very Satan. Weird. They go to like fucking every religion. So I don't know, man. It had a different twist on it. I was like, I'll give it a fair shot. Now that I'm seeing the 22% and the 24%, I'm like, oh, I should have known better. Blumhouse and a Gordon Green collaboration once again, and I'm not a fan. Like, a big surprise. I liked Halloween 2018.
First one.
Yeah,
I all like the first one, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I still don't think that one was like amazing or anything. Some shit to like,
it's pretty good.
Yeah, it was just decent. Like, it was a fun movie, and that's it. And you just keep it moving.
I liked it.
It wasn't anything that I'm like, you know, it's nothing that like changed my life where I was like, oh, horror's back. Like this, it wasn't that. But then again, I'm not the biggest Halloween or slasher fan, but I do appreciate those type of movies. I just,
of course, I mean, they're in the genre.
Yeah.
B-Show, surprised, not surprised. You're kind of laughing like I knew this was going to happen.
Not at all surprised.
Jesus Christ.
I think a couple weeks ago I said, after seeing what they did with Halloween, actually, when I first found out, we talked about this a couple months ago that Blumhouse and David Gordon Green were tackling it. I did not have high hopes. Let me read one of the reviews here. The top.
Can you read a couple of these short reviews because they're astounding? They're kind of heartbreaking. I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of soul crushing.
Yeah, because like no matter what you think it's gonna be, or no matter what you fear, you still hope for something, right? So Mario Allegre from Proxima Tanda. I don't know if I'm saying that right.
I don't know what that is. Right?
The only thing truly frightening about this terrible sequel is the moment you find out Universal Pictures paid $400 million for the rights to The Exorcist.
They did.
Meaning they will probably let David Gordon Green make 2 more of these.
Oh, whew. Read a couple more.
You want me to read the good ones or just the bad ones?
No, read the bad.
Okay. I thought so. I just wanted to see where we stand.
Yeah, read the bad.
The Exorcist Believer from Jonathan W. Hickman from the Noonan Times-Herald. Exorcist Believer is a wasted opportunity for director Gordon Green, who is brave enough to take on a classic but offers nothing new to keep us up at night. Robert Dennerstein from Dennerstein Unleashed. The Exorcist didn't make me a believer.
Ooh. Okay. Read another good one.
Cinemania Spain. The Exorcist Believer is presented as an entertaining film with effective jump scares and an attractive premise that ends up deforming itself to become another film about exorcisms.
Now, Shah, I don't know if you saw this, but apparently this got debunked quickly. Apparently, there was a rumor going around that the under theme of the film is anti-abortion. I'm not saying this is correct. I'm saying that this is just how. No. I'm serious. If you look it up. But other people, critics, have stepped forward and said that this is absolutely not true. Did either of you see this today? Because I saw it. I absolutely saw people saying it's an anti-abortion movie.
No, I haven't seen any of that, and quite frankly, I hope it's not the case. Because, like, again, I don't give a fuck about your views, man. I don't need it on my movies, especially not The Exorcist. Like, I don't need that.
So you don't want it to be a metaphor for climate change?
Yeah, I don't need climate
because
change.
we're getting hotter than hell. Get it? That's why Satan's coming, BJ.
I don't want to talk about inflation in the Chucky movie. Like I don't fucking care, man. You know, I'm trying to
supply
escape
side economics and Saw.
Yeah,
I'm trying to
That's in Saw
work,
10.
dude.
Supply side economics. I don't want you guys.
Oh my god!
But neither one of you saw that today.
No.
Okay. I just want to acknowledge some people in the chat there. Christopher Kane just joined the chat. He actually saw 10, and he also saw
Damn.
A couple of other movies. Chris Matthews is saying Exorcist is legit, but his friend never watched it. And our friend Chuck is saying this is interesting. They're trying to retcon Chris McNeil, which is the mother, as a badass demon destroyer. It makes no sense. Not every female protagonist has to be empowered. So, yeah, it's possible that we are getting a sort of woke Exorcist where the mother, who really did nothing in the Exorcist movies, let's just be honest, she didn't really do anything. But shout out, to her for being in the films. She was kind of not the greatest mom. Apparently now at 80 is going to solve the exorcism problem, B-Show. She's going to the 80-year-old Chris McNeil is the only person who could save these two girls from Satan itself.
Maybe they could have got B. Arthur if she was still alive.
Hold on, B-Show. Guys, did you see this? Chuck is announcing the 2 sequels are going straight to Peacock. That the announcement was made months ago, then that's a sign. Oh, my God. Is that real?
We can verify.
Now, Shah, what do you think of them paying $400 million to get the rights?
I think it's insanity. But I want to touch on this real quick. The main survivor, like we've always had the last girl in horror movies, right? But I also don't need, a 120-pound girl beating up Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees. Like that's not believable, man. Like, you know what I mean? I get you're trying to be inclusive and be woke and all that. And I'm not misogynistic or anything like that, man. But I believe if fucking Sylvester Stallone went against Jason Voorhees, not Pamela Anderson. You know what I mean? Like you got to make it believable, man.
So you're saying that,
hey, Jason.
I would love
so if they made like a Stallone movie now, Stallone would have to be saved by like his teenage daughter.
Yeah, I mean, dude, look at how many horror movies that came out recently had the woman, kicking everybody's ass in the movie.
Oh yeah, a lot.
Even Terrifier. I mean, that
was an incredibly empowering movie. She was the only person who could stop a killing entity clown.
Yeah, but I just feel like every movie is trying too hard now. Like to the point, it's just like it's so obvious that it's.
Well,
it's almost
I had
not even
said. I'm sorry, Shah.
I was just gonna say it used to be original to go that route and put a woman in that position, but now I feel like it's almost original just to go back to the script of how it used to be, and not go towards that direction.
I have not seen anyone calling it woke. I'm almost like every time I say that word, I feel douchey saying it, but I don't know what other word to use. I don't. We have not seen the film. I will see the film this weekend. And I'm seeing it no matter what. It can go down to 11 B-Show. I'm going to see it. It's The Exorcist. I have to go see this in a movie theater. I have to go experience this in a movie theater. But I will ask you both this before we move on. Is there a way that this poisonous reviews, and I'll start with you, B, is there still a way for this to pull a big number this weekend? Or is this going to, in your opinion, can you see a world where this still does very well and wins the weekend? And people going, fuck it, I don't care. I just want to see a horror movie. It's Halloween. That's The Exorcist, and I don't care.
Is there anything else debuting this weekend? Like, when does Killers of the Flower Moon come out?
No,
Next week?
Well, never. The Exorcist moved its date.
Oh, that's right.
Remember, The Exorcist moved a date.
So I don't think
going back into IMAX.
This didn't work so well. If this is
I'm sorry, Bicho. I apologize. I was going to say Britney Spears. Taylor Swift's movie.
Britney Spears.
I confused Taylor Swift. Well, Britney Spears was Taylor Swift for.
I would like to see Britney Spears. She did the knife dance. Maybe she could go after.
She should fight. Maybe Britney is that. Maybe Britney's going to be in the sequel. It's like Satan, y'all. What were you going to say, Bicho? I don't think anything big.
Like it didn't work so well a couple of weeks ago for what's it called? Indiana Jones. I mean, the reviews coming out were terrible, and people said maybe they thought they were trying to get that out of there and do almost a any press is good press type of thing, and they got absolutely shellacked at the box office.
Oh God,
so,
destroyed. Do you see a circumstance where this is salvageable?
Salvageable, maybe, but I mean, there's a lot of people that will hear that this isn't doing well and they won't go. I honestly think that. And
That's the
I
buying
think
public.
there's even some general public people I think that will still go maybe because it's Exorcist, but
Mm,
like those are the type of people that tell their friends, "Oh, don't go see that fucking movie. It's dumb." So
okay.
I don't think so.
Shah, is this salvageable? Do you think people will still go because it's The Exorcist, because it's Halloween season, and because they're like, fuck the critics, they're haters?
Yeah, I think regardless of how many bad reviews this gets, this is gonna probably do pretty well. Um,
Really?
yeah, man, it's Halloween and it's The Exorcist. I mean, that name rings bells, man. I mean, it's like a Halloween or a Friday the 13th movie coming out and nobody going to see it. I just don't see that happening. You know, especially now. I feel like because like back in the day, I feel like if you went to see these movies at the movie theater, you were a genuine horror fan. Nowadays, with Fright Rags and Hot Topic and so many, it's kind of trendy to do these like horror T-shirts. So a whole new generation has been introduced to these characters that may have not even been huge fans of them. So I feel like there might be more fans nowadays walking around that are willing to give this a shot than there was 10, 15 years ago. Just because 10, 15 years ago, you had to go out of your way to discover these movies. You know what I mean? Now it's in your face. It's everywhere.
Okay. I think, honestly, I think it's going to grossly impact the box office. I think people are going to go, nah, I'll go see Saw. Nah, that Nun 2 still playing? I really want to check that out. I heard that was way better. Oh, Five Nights at Freddy's is coming out in a couple weeks. I'll just go see that. I don't see how they shake this off like a bad case of fleas. I just don't, guys. I just don't. This is terrible. This is like bad news. And David Gordon Green, we should point out to people who might not recognize that name. David Gordon Green actually came to prominence, for those of you that don't know, directing Pineapple Express, which is a fantastic R-rated comedy that kind of jettisoned Seth Rogen and James Franco before he became a fucking pedophile, whatever, and some of these other people, and jettisoned the R-rated comedy. And then he got the Halloween property a bunch of years later, not to the dismay of many people. A lot of people still feel that sting. And I think he could not have afforded to make a shitty movie, B-Show. I think he needed this to be great, and it's not good.
I agree because look, I rewatched Halloween 2018 today, and
I still like it.
I picked up on some stuff that I didn't catch the first time around. Just let it sink in. I've seen it before, but I really tried to pay attention and give it an honest go. It's a lot better the second time around without any expectations. So I'll give him that. And I think he did a lot in the first one that was good, but it just went completely off the rails. And let's remember, I mean, we're talking about two tentpole fucking franchises here.
Enormous.
And we're going to talk about potentially another one on the Patreon. So stay tuned for that.
No shit.
But you're talking about Halloween and we're talking about The Exorcist, two of the most iconic classic horror franchises in history. Two of the most, I would say, influential in history.
Oh, God. Yeah.
And now this dude is, I mean,
two of the great, let's be honest, Bisho, the two of the greatest horror films, unquestioned. There's no top 5 or 10 without those two movies.
Yeah, think of pre-80s. What are the top 3 or 4 horror movies that people talk about?
Pre-80s, Exorcist, Shining, Omen,
Psycho.
You could even make a case for some other Hitchcock properties or stuff like that. Nosferatu, if you want to go that far back.
Yeah, like
I'm just saying, like nothing exists. Like these changed everything for everybody.
Yeah, and he's not doing so great with them. So I agree with you. I think this is going to be a big swing and a miss, and I don't know, man. This is going to be interesting to see where it goes from here.
Yeah.
So we will get this job.
Shah, go ahead.
No, sorry. How did he get this job? Like, what dirt does he have on Blumhouse that this guy is getting so many?
Can we pull his repertoire up? So Shah, he did Pineapple Express, which was a very small comedy, as everybody, no one in this earth has not seen Pineapple Express. I mean, nobody. Everybody has seen it. Chris Matthews wanted to point out Indiana Jones was not bad. And by the way, I think we all kind of thought we would like it if we saw it, and I think we'll all see it eventually. Joe Punches says the OG Exorcist was people saw or terrified for 1973. Yeah. And of course, the game said he watched Halloween Ends on mushrooms and loved it. Can we pull up David Gordon Green? I just want to see his. I know he made an indie movie called George Washington or something that was an.
Dude, I love that somebody watched Halloween Ends on mushrooms. Who did that?
The game, yeah. So these now remember, these are not movies he directed. These are he He directed Your Highness, which is a bomb. We want to see what he directed because
we're trying to go to IMDb.
Yeah, we just want to see what this motherfucker directed.
Where's his director's credits?
Here we go. Producer. Look, he's produced a lot. I mean, he's produced a lot of his own movies.
Nut. Got an ad. I'm gonna take out the producer and writer credits.
Yeah, let's just look at director. Wow, he's got some shit here.
Righteous Gemstones?
Yeah, I love Righteous Gemstones. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. It's one of the best comedies on television. Nobody watches it but me. He does all these with what's his face, the Eastbound and Down guy.
Danny McBride.
Danny McBride. Yeah, that's his partner. They're partners. Your Highness is a terrible movie. All the Real Girls. That's a pretty George Washington. I've never seen it, but that's supposed to be like a brilliant independent movie. So he did All the Real Girls. I've seen that. I didn't see Undertow. I didn't see.
But he's got a great track record with comedy. He should stick to that. He's way better.
I mean, comedy. I mean, Shah, he went out of comedy where he was just killing it. Just fucking killing it there.
No, because I loved Righteous Gemstones. I love Pineapple
Vice
Express.
Principals is amazing. If you've never seen
Vice
it.
Principals. I love
hard
all
R
that
comedy. And then he goes into Halloween.
Oh,
and
don't do that.
The Sex
again,
Lives of College Girls is actually very funny too. I've seen some of that. Very funny TV show. I can't watch it because my children are in college, but I disqualify myself. But now the shift from comedy to legacy horror, Shah. Don't see it.
And dude, that's a lot of pressure on this guy to handle Halloween, Exorcist. Like, I don't know, man. If you have that much pressure on you, I figured a diamond would pop out of that shit, not a fucking piece of turd. You know what I mean? Like, pressure built diamonds, man. You gotta take that and fucking run with it. You had all this pressure on you to prove yourself, and you ended with Halloween Ends, which left a bad taste in people's mouths.
Yeah.
You had to come back with a strong one. I mean, if this is actually bad, I don't know, man. I would suggest it goes back to comedy, because horror, he's shitting the bed.
Yeah. Now, that being said, I'm going to see it. I'm going to make a prediction. I'm going to say it's probably not nearly as bad as people are saying it is. I think people.
Same.
I do. I think people already hate this motherfucker. They're already mad at him about Halloween. They're already mad about that the potential of the movie might be a woke version and all this other shit. God, I really hate saying that word. But I'm going to see it. I'm going to see it this weekend, and we'll talk about it a little bit next week. But we just wanted to get in front of this because this could tank terribly or boom, so we wanted to get our picks out there. But we want to shift to a music story just because this is kind of fascinating. And I am actually somebody who is a lot older than most of you for the most part. So I remember this a little different than you guys probably do. There was an arrest in the shooting of Tupac Shakur like last week in 2023. Tupac has been dead longer than he's been alive. When did Tupac get killed? 99?
96.
96. Okay. He's been dead longer than he was alive. I'm fairly certain. He was late 20s, Shah. Was he mid 20s?
Yeah, I think he was almost 30.
Okay. Okay. So it's a mulligan on that.
The 27 Club? Is he a member of the 27 Club?
Oh, is he a 27 member club?
I don't think so. I think
a lot of people in that club.
Yeah.
A lot of people in that club. Anyway, they've made movies, miniseries, books. I've read books. I've bought books about the Biggie and Tupac murders. I've watched documentaries about the murders. I've always, found it to be quite fascinating because I think I think we were the same age, only I'm not dead yet. But, and I grew up with this. This was my generation's, the Puffy and the Bad Boy and Death Row thing. I was around for that. I was a young person living in this, MTV world. That's at that time when Bad Boy was feuding, and this is going to seem very childish to a lot of people, but at that time, you have to remember, a lot of people didn't have the internet. If you had a cell phone, it just maybe took some bad pictures, and you had to put an antenna up to talk on it. So you weren't tweeting and shit all day. So you just followed this in like MTV and like, the Source Awards and Source Magazine and shit like that. So
Kurt Loder would pop on MTV with a MTV
Kurt Loder
news
would, or John Norris or Tabitha Soren, or maybe Serena Altschul if everybody was on vacation. I'm naming them all. Or maybe my friend Ian. It was a personal friend of mine who was an MTV correspondent. Shout out to Ian. But like, this is how we got my 20-somethings, millennials, Gen Xers. This was our life. We followed this shit. Like we bought records from these people when they were alive. So it's fascinating to me that there was an arrest this week in the 1996 killing of rapper Tupac Shakur. I would say Tupac's a lot more than a rapper. That's for sure. I think they're doing him a little disservice there, calling him that. You can call him an entertainer. The guy was a very smart dude. He was in a lot of movies, some very good, like Juice. Juice is the shit. If you've never seen Juice, Shah, you a fan of Juice? Juice is the fucking shit.
Yeah, man, I love it. I got
fucking hell 4K. Yeah. Love Juice.
Ago.
Fucking tell me if I know the ledge. Still bump that song. So this is my generation. So to see this kind of come to light again. You have Keefe D, as he was known. Dwayne Davis has long been known to investigators as one of 4 suspects identified in the investigation. But he isn't the gunman, but he's described as the ringleader. So, Shah, what are you thinking when you see this? I mean, like, you guys, like I said, you're a lot younger than me. So this is like probably nothing that was on your radar until you were very small.
No, I remember Tupac dying. I was in Germany. Even Germany, they reported. I wasn't familiar with him that much, but I remember when he died. I've been following this story like for a while because I follow DJ Vlad on YouTube.
He's still around, DJ Vlad?
Oh, DJ Vlad is one of the biggest fucking platforms on YouTube, man.
Wow. Okay.
That guy's he's killing it, man.
Wow. Okay.
That is a rich Russian right there.
Yeah, I thought he was pieced out by people because they thought he was 5-0.
No. He does interviews daily, man. He's
people
one of the biggest
still telling
platforms
shit to Vlad when they think he's fucking CIA and shit.
No, they don't. Dude, they rat on themselves on Instagram. The new wave
but you
of
know what I'm
rappers,
talking about, Shah. There's a
they don't
huge
even-
component in hip hop that thinks he's a narc. Like there's a huge component.
Yeah,
especially
but they still
younger
go sit down, bro. Everybody likes money. He offers money, they sit down. He's interviewed everybody. Long story short, I've watched a 2.5-hour interview with Keefe D on DJ
Jesus
Vlad.
Christ.
This man wrote a memoir in 2019 where he basically said that he was in the car. And for people that don't know, Tupac was never like a gangbanger, but once he got on death row, because Suge was a notorious blood. He was a Pyro blood from Los Angeles. So he held a lot of power. And I guess something happened in Las Vegas at a Mike Tyson fight. Because Mike Tyson
got into a fight with with another gang member. Like I recognized another gang member at a Tyson fight.
Yeah. So Mike Tyson actually invited them out to that fight, which I saw an interview with Mike Tyson, and Mike Tyson said he wants 5 minutes with Keefe D in a room because he feels bad, because he feels like he almost had something to do with Pac getting murdered, because he's the one that invited them over there, because he was close with Pac. He was real good friends with him. So they get in a fight at the Las Vegas casino with some Southside Crips that were from Compton. I don't know what the connection was in Las Vegas and Compton, because a lot of these dudes lived in Las Vegas, but they were Compton gangbangers. So I don't really know. I don't know what that was, but
that's a long commute. But go ahead.
It is. I don't know. So long story short, the guy got jumped, and he is the nephew of Keefe D. So him, Keefe D, and 2 other people, which one of the guys is actually a New York guy.
Wow.
He was a New York guy that Puffy dealt with, which brings Puffy into this.
Yep. That's why they thought Puffy might have been involved.
So they basically find Tupac and they drive side by side. And according to Keefe D, he's sitting shotgun in the car.
And Sugar's driving, right?
Well, yeah, Sugar's driving. I'm talking about the car that Keefe D was in.
Okay.
Keefe D is riding shotgun, and he passes the gun back to his nephew, which was the one that got jumped. But his nephew wasn't sitting the closest to where the car was passing him by, Tupac's car. So he passed the gun off to somebody else that shot out the car. This other guy, apparently his name is Big Mac or some shit. I don't know what. He was some fat 400-pound guy.
Very original.
Yeah.
Never heard that before.
By the way, everybody is deceased that was in the car except Keefe D,
who is 60 years old, by the way.
Yeah, so everybody's dead.
Who was a little too old to even be doing the gangbanging back then.
Yeah,
that's how old he was. Yeah.
So this Keefe D guy, I guess he wanted some clout. He wanted some internet fame. So he decided to write a book on what happened with Tupac's murder. And of course, him saying that he passed off the murder weapon to his nephew makes him now an accomplice. So I don't know what the fuck this guy was thinking doing this. because he did this multiple times. Like, he gave 10 interviews on different platforms. He did this 5 years ago, by the way. This interview is not new. This is
it's not new.
5
And Will
years
T
ago.
said, shout out to Will T. He said his name is Big Dre. That's
Big Dre. Sorry,
Big
that's
Dre,
a
not
Big Mac.
Another original name. I've never heard Dre before.
So yeah, Big Dre apparently is the guy that actually shot out the window because I think what was his name? Gaddafi, I think, was one
Big
of the outlaws.
Gaddafi?
No. One of the outlaws was named Gaddafi.
Okay.
And he was riding behind in a different car behind Tupac. And according to him, the arm that came out of the car that shot was a fatter arm. So it's not the guy that got jumped. So they thought it was Big Dre.
Beefy Dre.
Yeah.
Big Dre. Sorry.
I hope I'm never implicated in a crime because someone saw the size of the
Bisha would be Beefy T. They'd be like, they call him Beefy
T. The burly arm.
So then Shah handed the gun to Drapes, but Drapes' glasses were dirty. So he handed it to Beefy T. Beefy B. Wild.
So this guy did multiple interviews, and there's so many questions I have, man, because
can we get him on the podcast?
Dude, DJ Vlad is a fucking genius. I don't care what anybody says. This guy knows how to cop. He knows how to get people to rat on themselves.
Yes, he
does. This guy, obviously, he said it in a book, so it's not like he's giving him an exclusive. But this guy was on DJ Vlad's platform not to tell his story. He was there to promote the story, so you buy the book.
Yeah,
right?
And then he ends up.
DJ Vlad was able to every time get this guy. Every time he asked them like a question, like, "All right, so who was the guy that shot Tupac?" Well, you're just gonna have to buy the book to say that. And then DJ Vlad would pull out the book and he would say, "Well, all right, so I'm just gonna read a passage from the book."
That's amazing.
He would let him read the passage and bait this guy into telling the whole story on his platform.
This is wild, dude.
It was brilliant.
How old were you guys when this actually happened?
I was like 9, 10.
Okay, so you have some memory of it. Bisho, do you have a memory of this? Like these guys getting killed? Because you will probably watch an MTV.
Yeah, I remember. I knew who Tupac was because I'd seen like the California Love video and stuff like that. It was like right as I started getting into I mean, I know it's pop music, but like,
yeah, it was very popular.
You're non-traditional. Like I started listening to some more hip hop and stuff. And I remember on MTV News, it said there was going to be the big debut of the Changes music video after Tupac was killed.
That's
and that
right.
Video, it opens with the crime scene of the car and like the police lights going. I'll never forget the first time I saw that. It was like, oh my God, that's like the crime scene.
It was
then all of a sudden that sample from Bruce Hornsby kicks on, and then fucking he starts spitting poetry, and I'm like, holy fuck.
It was a big deal. I mean, this is an iconic moment in history, in culture, that transcended music, transcended youth culture. Tupac had already shot a bunch of movies that would come out posthumously. He had like that Machiavelli album, already done. And of course, the feud was still on with New York and Puffy and Bad Boy, and Biggie was kind of like, people immediately implicated him. It's fascinating. It's probably something you'll never see again in culture. Like these people so iconic being involved in this level of you're never going to see this again. Nobody has these kind of Tupac's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They had a Broadway musical about him. He's considered like a literal icon. Yeah. And Biggie's an icon. These people are iconic people. They're not replaceable people. Little Yachty is not. If Little Yachty gets shot tomorrow by Little Squatty, nobody's gonna care. Like it's not gonna be.
Well, it's different nowadays too, because these people, every rapper that comes out, every musician is so replaceable now. Because like every rapper that comes out, their lifespan in the music industry is like 2-3 years. You know what I mean? Tops, and they're out, and the next best thing is in.
Small.
Let me ask you guys this. Yeah, they have a short shelf life. Let me ask you guys this. Do you think Puffy is going to get indicted in this? Because no. Well, think about it. Because in the same interview, because it's all interesting how this all just makes full circle.
It does.
This guy said that Puffy was doing a video in Compton. And he wanted protection because he didn't want to get shot by fucking Shogun,
right.
Not necessarily Pac, but Shogun. He held a lot of weight in Compton. So he proceeded to talk to this guy, and he offered him $1 million to get rid of Tupac. That's according to this guy.
Yeah.
And now there's other people saying that once Tupac was killed, the $1 million was actually paid in cash, but it was paid to Big Dre or whatever the guy's name is, and the Big Dre guy never gave Keefe D his portion.
Yeah.
So
I mean, look,
if they can somehow prove that Puffy put out a hit on this guy, because I mean, that's kind of crazy. And they also
it'd
said
be
that
earth-shattering
Puffy,
news. I mean, it'd be crazy.
they also said Puffy offered this guy $10,000 for each death row chain because he wanted a collection of death row chains to put in his rap video.
Wow.
So this
did you
guy
guys see
brought
what
up
Will
Puffy's
T's
name
putting
a
in here,
lot,
Shah?
man.
Do you see what Will T is saying?
No. Yeah. Oh yeah, it was Von Zip. Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, Ali's uncle who ran Blackground Records or whatever. Listen, it's a fact. Look, we're not done with the story. The story is going to move on. But it's just wild how when this came out, I was in my mid-20s, and now I look like somebody who has a child who's in their mid-20s. You know, I think about how old Biggie and Puffy would, not Puffy, I was like Biggie and Tupac, 50-something-year-old Biggie walking around, or 52-year-old Tupac walking around. It's wild to me. It's a wild, wild thing. I'm going to keep an eye on it. I'm sure it's going to come up again if there's more development. But if Puffy gets indicted for this, oh my fucking God. Like just.
Because I mean, this is coming out of nowhere 27 years later.
Yeah,
or whatever
27
it is.
years
Like
later.
this is
a
pretty
lifetime,
crazy.
a literal lifetime,
And it's only because this guy told on himself. Like nobody would have solved this. This would have been
diarrhea
a
of the
cold
mouth,
case,
Shah.
man.
He's got diarrhea of the mouth.
The last thing I had heard a long time ago is that they thought a cop might have been, like a Vegas cop might have
There
been.
was, he was a shooter.
Was
there was a cop who was like a blood, and he actually had a Tupac shrine in his garage. He robbed the banks. He was a cop who was robbing banks on the side.
What?
Yeah, you got to look. No, this is real. This is not made up. I'm very familiar. I read the books. There was a cop who they liked as a suspect for Biggie's murder, as revenge for Tupac, and then it turns out they got him on armed robbery. His girlfriend was a teller, and he robbed a bank in Los Angeles with other gang members, and they connected his girlfriend to him. And when they arrested him at his house, he had a Tupac shrine with all this blood stuff, and he was a cop. He was a veteran on the police force.
The white guy?
Yeah. No.
Cop?
Black guy.
No.
Black or Puerto Rican or something.
Yeah, I don't see people that way, B-Show. I'm not, that's not
Puerto Rican or something. Puerto Rican.
I don't refer to people as some sort of Puerto Rican. That's not, I don't know what you guys talk about in your house. I'm more of a, live and let live progressive person, but he was not a honky, if that's what you're referring to. He was not a white.
Did you think it's one last thing on this Tupac thing? And we'll wrap
shout out
it
to
up
the Bayou Geeks and Alexander Dirk.
What up, man? Did you know this guy still resided in Las Vegas in the same town that the shooting happened?
Well, Shah, 20-something years go by, that ain't get you.
Yeah, but why haven't you moved for 27 years, sir? You've gotten away with murder. Why the fuck are you living there?
Hubris.
Because if he was in a different state, he would at least need the feds to get involved. Like, dude, the Las Vegas PD has the right to show up at your house because you live in the same town still. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's been an open investigation. It's not like, it's not like they just said statute of limitations, schmations. Who cares?
It blew my mind when I heard this guy rat on himself.
Well, he had heard that the white cops were looking for some sort of Puerto Rican. So he thought he was in the clear. What was that from Family Guy where who's Joe the cop, where he says to Peter, at night it gets a little Puerto Rican-y. I think that's the actual line from some sort of Puerto Rico. Shout out to my friend Alonzo. Hey, listen, here's the deal. It's Halloween season, okay? And we wanted to do something special every week before we go to Patreon. So what we're going to do for the next bunch of weeks, again, we're going to have some exclusive Halloween stuff only on Patreon coming up this month. But we decided it would be fun if we brought to the table a couple of movies that are not in the obvious realm of Halloween favorites, but stuff we would recommend to people that they might not have ever seen before. So we're not going for like Halloween or Terrifier or The Shining or the Curse of the Puerto Ricanese, whatever the B Show watches this every year with his family.
Curse of the Puerto Rican Werewolf
at the Stormfront picnic. So we're coming original with 2 movies every week or 3. I got 2. I think Shah's got 3. B's got 3. I'm going to throw it to my man, Beefcake B-Show O'Brien. What do you got in the pipeline there for the people?
I've got 2. One is a movie that I watched last year when I got Peacock. They had a bunch of classic movies on there. It's not the Vincent Price House of Wax. It's the Mysteries of the Wax Museum from like 1932.
Oh, wow. Is it black
I've not
and
been
white?
able to find it since. It's
Can
it's
you pull it
fun.
up? We should pull these titles up. Can you pull
Yeah,
it up?
we can maybe pull them up.
Yeah, let me see.
1932.
Yeah, I didn't even. That's crazy.
Damn.
What's cool? What I thought was cool about it was Mystery of the Wax Museum, 1933.
I've never even heard of this.
So brief history. It was originally a play,
Oh,
and then they adapted it for film.
Hey, Ray is in this?
Yes.
From King Kong.
And one thing you'll notice is the colors.
Oh, wow. Look at
it
this,
wasn't
guys.
really a color movie. They
Oh, my
filmed it,
goodness.
They
This
printed
looks
it in green film.
phenomenal.
Like they printed it in green film and red tinted film and put them together, and it
Holy
made it look like it
shit.
was in color. So it's got a really cool look.
Where is this available?
I can try to find out. I know I watched it on HBO Max last year, but I don't think it's
Wow. Sorry, I have a cold. This looks phenomenal. Shah, have you ever even heard of this? But look at that special effects for 1932.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard of it. I've never seen it though.
Wow, absolutely badass. Great pick, Bisho. Faye Ray, such a pretty lady. My goodness.
Yeah, it's a lot like the Vincent Price one that would be done.
I love the Vincent Price. The ending is the best.
Yes, but it is cool, and it's kind of interesting because it's like early 1900s New York. It's like old streets with like gaslit lamps in some ways.
Wow. And do we know if it's shot in the States? They didn't shoot movies in New York then.
I don't know.
They only shot them in Los Angeles, in the States anyway. B, this is a wild ass pick, man.
Yeah, I just kind of pulled it out of my ass, but I really liked it, and I thought it was cool too because just the look of it looks so different.
Well, it looks fucking phenomenal. I would absolutely love to watch this.
Yeah.
All right, B, what's your second pick?
No, you guys go on first because
okay, I'm sorry, Shah. You got 3, so why don't you drop 2 right now?
So I got a little bit more mainstream, but I don't want to go too deep cuts. But it's a Stephen King one that no one ever talks about that I fucking love. It's my second favorite Stephen King, behind The Shining, and that is Stephen King's Thinner. Have you guys seen that?
Oh, I've seen Thinner. Yeah,
dude, I love Thinner. This movie, the poster, I remember this VHS. I rented this so many times from Blockbuster. I can't even tell you how many times.
Interesting pick.
I love this movie. I love Carrie. What's her name? Carrie Vourer.
We gotta look this up. This is going back here.
Oh, she is so fucking sexy, dude.
Yeah, the dad's the daughter. You can't call him, whatever anymore. Here she is.
There you go. Yeah, her name is Carrie Vourer.
Carrie Vourer.
Yeah.
Definitely a two-tissuer in many films.
Man, she was
from Remote Control on MTV, people. Show some respect on that name. Hot as balls. She was always very gingery.
And it's about a fat guy that basically he treats some gypsies like shit, and they put a curse on him to lose weight, and essentially he loses everything and he becomes bone thin, and he's trying to reverse the curse. So
yeah, that's awesome. Wow, fantastic shot.
One of my favorite posters. That poster is so good.
Yeah, with the face. Front cover. I remember this movie being very cool, and I love Carrie Wurr. I've definitely dedicated a tissue or two to some of Carrie Wurr in my life. Shah, do you have a second movie? Because I know you have 3 and we only have 2.
Yeah. The Midnight Meat Train.
Ooh.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, absolutely. Dude, Bradley Cooper.
Yeah, dude, that movie's a banger. I feel like nobody ever talks about
that. Is that based on a Clive Barker story?
It is. It is.
With Vinnie Jones, I believe, and Bradley Cooper's first kind of movie.
This movie's wild, man.
Yeah,
it kind of reminded me of Jacob's Ladder a little bit, the setting.
Wow.
You know?
Who directed
Even though it's not at a hospital.
I know it's a Clive Barker story, but
yeah, it's a Clive Barker story. This needs a Blu-ray, man. This needs a good Blu-ray. It's got a shitty
Did
Lionsgate put that out?
I feel like weren't they showing this? Oh, they were showing this in the background of a Bradley Cooper movie. Of a Bradley Cooper movie that I like quite a bit. It was actually playing on Halloween in the background as a Easter egg. In Silver Linings Playbook, his character and Jennifer Lawrence walk by a Halloween movie theater and they're playing Midnight Meat Train. Pretty cool idea. But Bisho, have you seen this? I've seen both of these movies. So
yes, actually, I think I saw it on late night when I was when we still had cable. I think we had like a Showtime or an HBO free weekend or something. Yeah. Nice little surprise. Good movie.
Yeah, it's got some gore in it. I'm gonna go with. I decided I'm gonna try to go like monster and slasher sometimes, or monster and demon, or like. So I really like monster movies. I'm a big fan of monster movies, and one of my favorite monster genres. Kevin Castle is not here, but one of the things Kevin Castle and I have in common, um, outside of our outrageous and egregious wrestling takes for the public, is our love of Bigfoot. And a lot of people in our age group, Bigfoot was a thing. Like In Search of from Leonard Nimoy was on Sunday nights. Like I still believe Bigfoot's real. I'm not high. I know Bigfoot's not real, but I want to live in a world where Bigfoot is real. Like that Bigfoot actually exists. And somewhere in the last 10 years, there has been a resurgence of very hard-hitting, good-looking Bigfoot movies. One of these movies is called Exists. Exist is a very good Bigfoot movie. It's actually directed by a guy who I think did VHS.
No,
Eduardo
it's by the
Sanchez.
same people that did the Blair Witch Project.
Blair Witch, yeah, Eduardo Sanchez. He did the Blair Witch movies, and this is a fucking it's a found footage version of Bigfoot. I have to tell you, I recommend this if you like horror or you like Bigfoot genres. I know Joe Punches likes Bigfoot. He just said. It's a very cool looking Bigfoot movie. I'm a fan. I am a fan of this movie, and I like it, and I like the way it was shot. This guy knows his movies, Eduardo Sanchez, from doing Blair Witch, and I recommend it. So that's my recommendation to people. Definitely check that out. Joe Punches is saying just watched it 3 weeks ago. Nice pick. Thank you, Punches.
Yeah, it's funny. I was actually going to watch that because
you got to. It's good. It's found footage. Shah,
I watched. So I got a steelbook from Walmart recently that has Blair Witch and the Blair Witch remake. So I watched the Blair Witch remake, which is not good.
Watch the remake. Yeah,
terrible. But there was a documentary, and they mentioned that they had done this movie. So I was like, "Oh shit! I didn't know that Exist was done by the Blair Witch people." So I was actually going to watch this. So
yeah,
I'll have to pick
great fucking ending, by the way. Great fucking ending. Just like yes. B-Show, I'd like to hear your second pick of the week for the horror month.
I'm gonna call an audible. I'm gonna go with something that I hadn't thought of. I just watched it about 6 or 8 months ago, and since I mentioned what's his name, Vincent Price, it was like Peter Cushing and not Christopher Lee. I'll figure it out. It's Horror Express, and you can find it on Shudder.
Oh, I have that. I haven't seen it.
It's a movie where basically they're on this train going through like Russia, I think it is. And there's this cargo that gets put aboard, this frozen guy, and he starts thawing out. And it's basically this alien that's consumed this caveman or something.
Oh, wow.
So it starts body jumping, and you're never sure where it is. And yeah, it was Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing.
There they are. Yeah, the boys.
So it's not the most like exciting movie, and it's done in like the 60s style, but it's a fun little movie.
Is it a Hammer film?
I think it is.
Okay, it looks like Hammer all over it, but it might not be. But it just looks stylistically.
Oh, Gala Films,
1972. Wow. Okay, they're already getting old then. Isn't that wild? Interesting. Who's the females in it? Anybody big? No, but obviously the big. Tully Savalas is in it. Kojak, motherfucker.
Yeah, he's like the Russian general that comes on the train at some point.
This guy was a brilliant actor. This guy was good. He was what a presence this guy had. Shah, I'd like to get your third pick there because you got 3.
Yeah, I recently discovered this movie. It's a Wes Craven movie, but it's one of his real early ones that no one ever really sees, and it's about a death Amish cult, and it's called Deadly Blessing. Have you seen it?
Oh, I've heard of that.
I've seen it.
I've seen Deadly Blessing about this one either. I didn't even know this existed.
Yeah. Famous people are in this movie. I think the girl from Little House on the Prairie is in this. One of the sisters. If you could blow it up, a young Sharon.
Michael Berryman is in it also.
Wow.
There you go. Sharon Stone.
Yeah, young Sharon Stone. Like she might be a teenager.
You should check this out. This is way before Nightmare on Elm Street.
It's a cult. Yeah. Ernest Borgnine's in it. What a weird cast. Wow. Where did you see this, Shah? I'd like to watch this.
I blind bought it on Blu-ray from Scream Factory.
Yeah, cool movie. I remember renting it. What year is this? 80-something.
81.
81. Yeah, Deadly Blessing. Yeah, it's a cult. It's a young girl gets trapped in a cult or something.
Yeah, and it's got Michael Berryman. I don't know why he's not. Oh, he's at the bottom.
Okay.
But he's the reason I really watched it, because I was like, oh, Wes Craven did another movie with him. I had no idea. So
Wow.
I blind bought it along with Night of the Demons. I watched that for the first time the other night.
Love it. Love
forgot
it.
how fucking
classic. But that's
like,
a classic.
iconic.
That's a cult. That's an obvious cult classic to a lot of people.
I totally forgot that I like owned it for the longest time.
I think I did a recap with Chunky Larry a bunch of years ago on Night of the Demons. It's just such a classic fucking horror.
It's so good.
So good. Bisho, have you seen it? It's phenomenal. Phenomenal.
I've not. I get that one confused with Night of the Creeps.
No.
Yes, I do too. But yeah, they're both very
good.
Dude,
type in Night of the Demons. Look at this practical effects they had.
Yeah, the girl with the crown.
So
right?
good.
Look at this. Bisho, look at her. That's Leanna Quigley, actually.
Where are we at?
I watched the second one last night. The second one was pretty good too.
Yeah, that's her right there. Right there. That's the cover.
Oh shit.
That's the third one.
Well, no, yeah, that's the third one. But Night of the Demons. Yeah, it's a cool movie. I like this movie. I don't know what
I think they got everything blocked because it's all gory.
Yeah, it's all gory. I'm going to give my pick. Now, this is a weird pick. Now, I'm sure you're familiar with actor Vincent D'Onofrio, character actor, brilliant in everything. Really known a lot of people for the Kubrick movie where he played Private Pyle. That kind of put him on the map. Little known fact, he was supposed to be Tony Soprano, and he lost out at the last minute to James Gandolfini to play Tony Soprano. He also has had a major resurgence in the Law and Order series for many years, and in Daredevil playing the Kingpin, where he's just brilliant, off the charts brilliant. He self-funded in upstate New York a 2010 horror emo musical remake of the 80s slasher film Don't Go in the Woods. I am not making this up. It is a musical. He produced, directed it. He's not in it. And it is an emo, I am not making this up, an emo musical based on the 80s classic Don't Go in the Woods. And it is, if you can get past the emo songs, it is a good looking, gross horror. Like, it's got good kill scenes. And I love the original Don't Go in the Woods. It's about an emo band that is writing an album in the woods and they start getting murdered. And it's not supposed to, and it's heavy-handed. And the fact that Vincent D'Onofrio shot this like in his own property in upstate New York, directed it, self-funded it, casted it. He casted like dudes in New York emo bands to be like in a fake band. This was a labor of love for this dude. I like this movie. I didn't think I watched it as a goof. By the way, the budget is $100,000, $100,000. People hate this movie because of they just didn't understand it. But I kind of got what he was trying to do with it. And I love Vincent D'Onofrio. Have either one of you even heard of this remake?
Not this version. I've seen
the original.
Yeah, not.
Yeah, you can see that's an emo guy. He's got an emo haircut, Shah.
Is there another movie called Don't Go in the Woods Alone? Is that a different movie?
Yeah. That's a different movie. Yeah.
Okay, that's the one that I have. That's the one.
This came out in 2011. Bisho, you probably never even heard of this, huh?
I think you might have brought it up a while back when we were talking about him. I think we were talking about The Cell, and you mentioned that he'd done this.
Yeah, Shah loves The Cell.
That's a great movie.
Dude, that would be a recommendation too. Fucking check the whole.
But that's kind of obvious. I feel like that's kind of obvious. Like a lot of people, that's a big budgeted movie from Tarsim with Jennifer Lopez. I mean, it doesn't get
but people forgot about that, dude. Who mentions
there's always next week.
Yeah, there's always no one mentions the show.
People do mention it. So we're gonna move on to Patreon. We have a bunch of stuff to get there. And we're going to give our pluggy plugs right now. We're going to plug Deathmatch Outlaws, the Drew Yari Experience, Cassette Classics 86 on YouTube, Down Under Thundercast, Don Tony. He's doing shows with Kevin Castle, Necromaniacs podcast. They just put out an episode today, I believe. Inhuman Experience podcast. Ringsiders is coming back for in the fall. Just wanted to put you out there. I might be doing a show with them soon. Mojo Dirk's Most Dastardly Show, and of course, the Garden of Doom. And then we have the Old Guy Metalcast, and of course, funkbetty.com. Go to funkbetty.com, get some wonderful clothes. Today, do it right now. MJW Games, Cherry Jesus on YouTube, and his band Kaiser. His album's coming out. I haven't listened to it, but he just sent me a link yesterday. Shout out to Kaiser. Red River Podcast. Of course, our good friend Sam at Playing Dead. He's doing tons of horror stuff this month at his channel, the Red River Podcast. Bayou Geeks, that's Fatty316. The High Marks Podcast, the Midnight Mass Creature Cast, and of course, the Weekly Detour with Anthony Alston and Teddy. And then we got the Guns and Geeks Podcast. Shah, anything on Planet Mondo this month for the big Halloween October?
Yeah, I'm gonna start making videos again this week. But other than that, I'm gonna be on Bob's Blu-rays on Tuesday night. We're doing a horror tournament, so it's about 10 different YouTubers on there. So we're gonna do a gigantic stream. So if you want to check that out, I'll be on there. Yeah,
excellent. Okay, and that's Tuesday.
Tuesday at 8:30, I think. Yeah,
Eastern.
8:30. Yep.
Okay, Eastern.
8:30 Eastern.
B, anything cooking?
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I was watching Halloween 2018 today. I'm revisiting movies that I originally wrote off to see if there's stuff I like about them. And some movies that I really like, to be honest and open up about why, things that I've overlooked that I probably should not like about them. So stay tuned, bshowbrian.com, hit subscribe, hit the like button. And I think that pretty much covers it.
Yeah. And of course, shout out to everybody hanging out with us in the chat. And of course, I was going to bring this up, Joe Punches. Blood and Honey, the Winnie the Pooh, the first one, is now on Peacock. So I want to check that out. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Again, Patreon, we're going to get your Q&A from September this weekend. Look forward to that tomorrow at some point. We'll get that up probably late tomorrow, early Saturday. And we'll be getting your bonus show out right after this one. And we'll see you guys next week on Spitball Media Podcast.
And we just wanted to add, Shah and I were talking when you were off. If you haven't subscribed to the Patreon yet, the bonus portion of this week, we're probably going to cover Blumhouse tackling another franchise movie. There's a Pet Cemetery movie coming out soon, and Fangoria released its updated list of streaming movies
for the month.
So
we got a lot to cover on Patreon.
/Spitball Media.
Yeah, and also, guys, before we go off the air, did we ever cover the Toxic Avenger trailer? We did not.
No. Yeah, I actually haven't
do that in the
seen
Patreon. So
yeah,
we have to cover that. It's too good to not talk about.
Oh shit!
Great way to join the Patreon. Go to patreon.com /break the app. $5. We want to see you there. This is the best
Spitball Media now. We changed it.
Oh, so I apologize. It
is officially Spitball Media. Sorry.
So it's patreon.com /Spitball Media, all one word. Is that right?
Yeah,
Pete?
all one word. Yep.
Okay. Sorry about that, guys. And thank you to the many Patreons. And we're excited to do your Q&A tomorrow. And we got a loaded for bear Patreon show coming up for you right after this. See you next week.